Utes are looking to win their first game against the Cougars since 2019. Kick is at 6 and the pregame starts at noon right here on KSL News Radio. Foothill Elementary School is turning the rivalry into a lesson on getting along despite your differences. Principal Abe Yosby says this is what sportsmanship is all about.
This is a perfect example of how you can get along and still cheer for a different team.
Kids showed up in their red shirts and Utes gear.
Really fun.
How come?
Because Utah's best.
And their blue Cougar swag.
I cheer for BYU because both my parents went to BYU, and that's where they met. And I just think the games are always really fun. I always love the fourth quarter show.
The school wants kids to know rivalry doesn't have to be in resentment. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 10 points. Right now, we're at 45,976. Coming up, sunshine and a little bit warmer. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:01. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with a Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Everybody knows that exterior remodeling salespeople are all about the high-pressure sell. Am I right? Windows, siding, gutters, those suckers are going to twist your arm and get you to buy, or they won't leave your house at night. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and I want you to know we don't have high-pressure sells. In fact, we don't even have salespeople. Nope, we have estimators. That's a huge difference. Estimators are trained to look at the entire scope of the project, to see and know if there are any problems like rotten wood, wood-borne insects, or construction issues specific to your house or your neighbors. Salespeople are more concerned about playing those silly price games. Buy one, get one free, sign today and get 40% off, as if they didn't just jack the price up to give you a fake discount. RGS Exteriors estimators are going to give you a great quote. No games, no tricks, no nonsense. Call RGS Exteriors to quote your exterior project. Our number is 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here's Michelle Rowe.
Overall, I-15 corridor moving smoothly. Just minor leftover delays from the earlier crash northbound at Bangerter Highway. We're also getting reports that there is fog and visibility issues up in Heber and Cache Valley. Unbeatable savings on Bernina machines, accessories, and clearance items at Dave's Bernina in St. George and Provo. 0% interest offers for 48 or 72 months, but only Saturday, October 18th. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be sunny with highs around 60. Tomorrow, the forecast is looking good for the big game. The sun will be out again with the highs just over 60 degrees. Right now, it's 45 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Seems like we've been talking all week about the government shutdown and what's happening with that. We had, I think, our 10th vote at the Senate yesterday, Holly, and the numbers haven't seemed to change. But rather than talk about the shutdown from the Senate's perspective, it'd be interesting to talk about how it's starting to affect people, because it's
Utah
moving forward.
It is,
here in Utah. Here's KSL's Mike Anderson with impacts that it's had on Hill Air Force Base.
Some are finding help in zero-interest loans and food banks, but still, that doesn't stop the stress of not getting paid until this is all over. Some are even being furloughed. They say it's time for Congress to grow up.
Behind the pilots and airmen,
we have jobs that we take pride in.
There are the federal employees that help keep the fleet in the air. These are some of their local union leaders who represent about 8,000 civilian workers on base.
When did the federal employees become the enemy? And why isn't Congress and the Senate being furloughed? They're federal employees, and they're the ones not doing their job.
Some are furloughed, like Brenda Jaramillo, not knowing if they'll be allowed to come back.
I'm a single parent, 2 boys. My ex-wife has worked for the IRS, give or take about 22 years. She's furloughed, no work.
As our nation's leaders refuse to work together, they say families and career civil servants become the targets. People who are trying to buy groceries and pay the bills.
It's ridiculous that they're causing the whole nation that they're supposed to represent to have this kind of stress in their life and uncertainties in their life that they created.
I actually just learned that this is hitting close to home with me personally. I didn't realize this.
Sure.
But when I started working at KSL, I had been hired by the federal government to do a number of court-appointed cases. We have a federal public defender's office, but they can only represent, if you imagine, all these drug conspiracies where you have numerous people charged. So they'll contact attorneys like myself who are part of this panel who do federal work. You get paid far less than you would normally, but it's public defender work. I've been doing it for 40 years. And I called the person that's over our program to say, hey, when is our funding getting cut off? And she said July 3rd.
Oh, gosh.
So we haven't been paid for 4 months. They were hoping to get it refunded, but we're still working. I've still got 4 or 5 cases I'm trying to wind down, but I guess we're not getting paid for those. I actually had to travel down to a prison in Nevada over the 24th of July. So I did quite a long trip that I'm now learning I'm never going to get paid for. So we'll see how that goes.
Look, it's one of the things I really liked the person in that clip that we just heard who said, why are the federal lawmakers not being furloughed and not paid, right? They're not doing their job, but they're getting paid.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And the furlough is the problem. I mean, some government employees, some of my own family members are what they used to call them essential. Now they're called exempt or accepted employees because they don't want anybody to think they're not important or essential.
Sure,
so they quit using that word. Anyway, so they're still working. They're just not getting paid. And in fact, one of my son is in the Air Force. The military, I think, is still getting paid in some respect. But my wife, who's with the Department of she's in the executive branch, working for the courts, rather, I should say, not with the executive branch. She's with the courts, so she's not getting paid right now.
Yeah. I was interested to see that the Salt Lake City International Airport has opened a pantry. We have Bill Wyatt, just a sound from him. He's the Salt Lake City Department of Airports Executive Director.
This is through no fault of their own. And we want to do everything to let them know that we support them and help them through this incredibly challenging time.
So I'm assuming he's talking about federal employees such as TSA and others.
Yeah.
That's going to become, Holly, a point of contention at some time during this shutdown when, okay, for one thing, you've got government employees who are not working and they're struggling and they're trying to get help. But when that starts affecting the rest of the public, let's say they start shutting down several flights because they just can't staff them.
Well, right. And by staffing, they're showing up for work without pay. Right. So this struck me that they have set up an entire hallway full of items. So some of it is food, some of it is pet food, some of it is hygiene items and diapers. And, it's like, how are we in this situation where people that we depend on for our safety in the skies don't even have the money to go out and get pet food?
Yeah, and we're setting up a pantry. We're helping them in ways like that. There's one that's been set up by the Salt Lake City Council. They're taking donations, and they'll try to keep it open as long as it can. Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall says it's not easy for them, for government employees not working and not working at all or working without pay.
So I ask other Utahns, as you come through the airport, be kind. Bring an extra dose of patience. Give some grace to these federal employees. Share your gratitude with them. They're showing up for the well-being of every single one of us, and they're not getting paid at this point.
And, one of the things that the members of the public can do if they want to is they can actually donate right there at the gas station at the airport. So, as you pull in, they've got that gas station where you refill your car if you're taking it back to the rental area. But they have a donation place where you can donate goods. They're also looking at collecting funds to be able to give gas cards out to these employees so that they can get to and from work. I mean, those kind of issues are, gosh darn it, you don't expect it when
you don't
sign up for a job that the government's not going to pay you.
And we spoke to earlier this week, Holly, with one of the directors of the Utah Pantry, the food pantries.
Yeah, that's right.
And she mentioned that, unfortunately, maybe ironically, a lot of employees, especially people who've been working and supporting themselves and haven't had any issues in the past, suddenly they're unemployed, they're not getting a check, might feel reluctant to go into these pantries and get items because of the stigma of that. But I would say just the opposite. I mean, you're not getting paid, and there are certain people in the public that are trying to help out, religious organizations or community groups or whatnot. By all means, take advantage of it. If you're not getting paid, you should be able to get some benefits here.
Yeah, so the IRS in Ogden, that's another area that's been impacted, and so they're setting up their own pantry as well. And again, there's so much uncertainty. So remember, if you remember the Ogden IRS, they laid off a whole bunch of people, and then they're like, oops, that was too many, and then they tried to hire them back, and then there was a government shutdown. And like there's so much uncertainty right now, even with the IRS. So up there in Ogden, they have that. I was struck to see Blake Moore say he thinks there's up to 40,000 federal workers in Utah that are going to be impacted.
Yeah, and it's obviously going to affect our national parks.
Yeah.
Because they are, I mean, let's face it, as beautiful and as wonderful and as much as they encourage tourists and others to come into the state, they're probably not high on the priority list in terms of funding, and they absolutely should be. I know that in the past, Holly, and I don't know what Governor Cox is doing right now, that the state has stepped up to help staff some of our national parks, but I'm not sure if they're doing that now.
There's some, right? But I'm looking at an article from a sister station, it's KUTV, and they're just saying, look at Zion National Park, they haven't been able to collect their entry fees, so people are getting in for free, which is making it crowded. They don't have rangers, they don't have the special talks or demonstrations, and they don't have people to collect trash. And so one of the things that they're asking is, please, if you come in, please be patient, be respectful, and take care of your own trash.
Right, and some people are not going to do that, so it's going to stack up, and our beautiful parks are not going to be beautiful to some people who are coming in from out of state and out of the country.
Yeah. So continuing in that same vein, a leading U.S. economist yesterday told a Utah audience that the recession risk is uncomfortably high, but that Utah as a state is well positioned to weather whatever storm is coming. We'll have our own expert analysis on Utah's position with the current state of the economy when we come back after the break.
Rivalry Week is here.
The 5, the 4, dive, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown!
BYU, Utah.
Bear Bachmeyer gets in for 6 in double overtime.
You ain't ready for this. I'm the best they ever had.
Listen for Cougar Tracks all week long. 30 minutes of coverage of BYU Utah. All this week at 6:30 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars and Rivalry Week. KSL News Radio.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. In celebration of over 32 years of serving humans in Utah with their computer and tech needs, we've slashed our prices. And these are the new 2025 models. Here's the deal. You can get our new 2025 S1 desktop with a blazing Ryzen 5 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing fast storage on this promotion. We also have our new 2025 SM3 laptop with the Intel i5 processor, 16 gigs, and over a terabyte of storage for $999. You can take one home today for $999. And you also get the peace of mind of our lifetime service warranty. We also have 12 months special financing available, and they start as low as $29 a month. But hurry in because supplies are limited. Because at PC Laptops, we love you. PCLaptops.com. Take home a blazing fast 2025 model desktop or laptop for $999 at PCLaptops.com.
I have to admit, it drives me nuts when we start talking about Christmas so early in the year, but it is a good time right now for you to make your reservations for the family gathering, for the company party, all kinds of special events during the holidays. Make your reservations right now. It's not too early at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. What a great way to welcome out-of-town guests, to thank your employees for a great year at your business. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse during the holidays, too, is just magical. The two locations, Hotel Park City, right up there in that beautiful mountain environment, and of course where all the hustle and bustle of the city is happening, 275 Southwest Temple in Salt Lake City. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse for the holidays, and you will get that perfectly prepared steak and so much more at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
When winter's chill settles in across Utah, nothing welcomes you home like the glowing warmth of a fireplace. Croft Fireplace is Utah's trusted experts in gas, electric, and custom luxury fireplaces. Locally owned, locally trusted. Whether you want to convert your old hearth, install a new insert, or create a striking feature wall, the licensed team at Croft handles it from start to finish, bringing years of craftsmanship, quality design, and personalized service to every project. Every fireplace is built to inspire comfort, connection, and calm. A place to gather, relax, and enjoy the warmth of home with family and friends. Visit the Salt Lake or Bountiful showrooms to see your dream fireplace in person. Or let Croft Fireplace come to you. Stay cozy all season. Croft Fireplace, where warmth becomes home. Visit croftfireplace.com to learn more. Croft. Fires. Home.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Bad weather and parking lots love GoPave Utah. GoPave Utah loves snow. Don't wait for bad weather. Schedule your snow removal service at GoPaveUtah.com.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Inside Sources.
A leading U.S. economist was in Salt Lake yesterday speaking to a group at the University of Utah. Mark Zandi shared his concern about some of the biggest problems that are facing Utah and the nation, specifically the national economy. He said this: it's not in a recession, it's growing, but the rate of growth is slow. It's below the economy's potential, and you can see the struggles most evidently in the job market. So he's not predicting a recession yet, but is saying that we're teetering pretty close to that. He did indicate that Utah was better positioned than some states to weather that storm, but it's still a problem.
Yeah, we have with us Robert Spendlove, senior economist with Science Bake, to help break us down. Thanks for joining us, Robert.
It's great to be with you.
Hey, we want to start by asking, we just spent our first segment talking about direct impacts that we're starting to see with federal workers in Utah, but are we starting to see broader impacts on people who are not federal workers with this government shutdown?
Yeah, so we call that the kind of the multiplier effect. You know, we've got tens of thousands of federal workers in Utah, and a lot of them are furloughed. They're not receiving payments, and they have to make payments as well. So you start to see that multiplier effect the longer the shutdown lasts. So we're not seeing that really clearly yet, but we expect to start to see that. But one of the problems is we just don't have the data. Because the federal government is shut down, we don't know what the impact is. We don't have some of those direct measures. And so that's one of the struggles right now, is just this high level of uncertainty.
Yeah, and the uncertainty, Robert, can be fairly significant, because we're hearing that the number of federal employees in Utah alone that could be furloughed or lose their job could be in the thousands. And at some point, that's going to take a toll not only on our economy, but on just on the job situation and where we are in Utah, correct?
Yeah, and if you just kind of break that down, so our our major federal employers in Utah, there's Hill Air Force Base, there's the IRS facility in Ogden. Now, President Trump has said that military workers, people who work directly for the military, will receive payment. But what about those military contractors? They're not going to get payments. With the IRS, those furloughed workers at the IRS are not going to get paid until they come back. And so it's kind of this disparate impact. But for those communities that have a lot of federal workers or workers tied to the federal government, they're going to be seeing big impacts.
So Robert, where does Utah stand with the overall economy and looking at like teetering on the edge of potentially a recession?
Yeah. So, and when I'm speaking to business leaders, when I'm speaking to community groups, I hear this all the time. People don't feel like the economy is doing bad right now, but they don't feel like it's doing well either. And there's a lot of concern. So, if you're measuring the economy by gross domestic product, we're doing great. GDP grew by 3% in the last quarter. It's estimated to grow by another 3% in this quarter. But when you start to break it down a little bit, people are worried about their jobs. They're worried about the labor market. They're worried about prices. They're, and inflation. They're worried about the impact of the tariffs, and they're worried about affordability. And so all of those are just kind of eating away at consumer sentiment, and people just don't feel like the economy is operating where it needs to be.
Robert, speaking of tariffs, do we know yet what effect they're having? And partly because they're a moving target. Tariffs come in, they go back out. But some nations are hit harder than others. But have we seen the effects of tariffs yet on the economy?
Well, we're starting to see some impacts in specific areas. Usually negotiating a tariff rate with another country could take years. And we've seen this play out in the space of months. And so it's still too soon to see the full impact. Just for one company to implement a tariff price change could take 18 months. So we're still kind of waiting to see some of those impacts, but we are seeing it in specific areas. Beef prices are way up. Coffee prices are up. Banana prices are up. So we're starting to see some of those playing out. So the overall inflationary impact isn't clear yet. We know that inflation is higher than it should be. It should be around 2%, and it's hovering around 3%. But one of the things that we need to know is just what does that look like? One of the interesting things is Trump is actually calling back some of the federal employees that do the inflation estimate. So we're going to be getting an inflation report next week, and that's going to be critical.
So I have a question about Utah's economy specifically. So I know that in 2008 with that recession, I know that with the pandemic, Utah was pretty well positioned. Are we still pretty well positioned to weather economic storms?
We actually are. Utah's economy, it continues to be fundamentally strong. We have great demographics. We have a young population, a growing population. We have a very cohesive economic environment. We work together really well. And then we have kind of this strong quality of life that attracts people to want to move to Utah. So those, and then and also a strong business environment, a business-friendly environment. So that attracts a lot of companies to want to come to Utah. However, we are still exposed to that national economy. And so when we see national weakness, it can also hurt Utah. And so we're starting to see kind of that slowdown, that pressure on the Utah economy. And then also one of our biggest problems is just affordability. Housing affordability is a problem. Overall cost of living is straining a lot of people. And so we're feeling that as well.
Robert, let me ask you another question about some indicators. The stock market seems to be doing well. It seems to be close to or maybe even at an all-time high. But our jobs report is just awful lately, and we're just not creating jobs. Those are two sort of inconsistent indicators, at least to me, of the economy. Do those mean anything as you see them related to one another?
Yeah, and there's a lot of debate about this. So it's kind of the breakdown between this AI economy and the real economy. So a lot of the stock market gains are being driven by investments in artificial intelligence. A lot of those, those AI companies are really dominating that increase in the stock market. But when you look at, just like you said, the labor market is the real economy. And that's where we're seeing a lot more weakness, a lot less growth. We've been seeing this for the past several months where the labor market has been slowing. And we may just be on the precipice of the labor market starting to contract. If you look at some of the private job indicators like ADP or Revilio, they show that the last 2 months we've seen a net contraction in jobs created in America. And so that's why it's so important to be getting this data from the federal government so we can at least understand this difference. But that's one of our struggles that we're running into right now.
Let me follow up with a question on the data. Is it going to be reliable?
Well, that's a big question. So there have been claims that the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is politically motivated. I don't think that's true. However, there are legitimate problems in the way they've collected the data. The response rates have been dropping. People just don't respond to these surveys like they have in the past. And so it does create less certainty about the data. And, when you don't trust the data as much as you used to, you have to build in a higher risk premium. You have to say, okay, I need a greater return on this investment. And so that's why we're seeing bond markets and interest rates have been trending up a little bit more just because they're building in this higher risk premium.
Thank you, Robert. That was Robert Spendlove, senior economist for Zions Bank, who had some rosier news than our guest speaker at the University of Utah with respect to the economy, and he's always available for us. Robert is just such a good asset for our community. When we come back after the break, former National Security Advisor John Bolton appeared in court this morning, just in the last 15 or 20 minutes, to enter not guilty pleas to 18-count federal indictment that was handed down just yesterday. We'll break down what the charges are and what he's facing when we come back.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story: firefighters were called to a dog food factory in Ogden last night for the second time this year. Deputy Fire Chief Matthew Hess says the fire started in an oven that makes dog biscuits.
On the second floor where the oven was located, that entire room was charged with smoke, and so visibility was down to zero.
They say the fire was difficult to fight because the building is large and like a maze. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, an announcement on Russia ahead of President Trump's meeting with President Zelensky in the Oval Office.
Trump announced that he and Putin plan to meet again in the coming weeks, this time in Hungary. Now, pressed on why he thinks this meeting will be any different than the last one, the president said simply that their Alaska summit, quote, set the stage for this meeting. Now, this announcement does present a curveball to Ukraine. It comes as Zelensky has been asking Trump for Tomahawk missiles capable of striking deep inside Russia. Trump has suggested he's open to it, but he also says he discussed it on the phone with Putin yesterday, who, not surprisingly, doesn't like that idea.
ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 36 points right now. We're at 45,989. Coming up, we've got sunshine and temperatures in the 60s today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:31. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Bill Riley here with University of Utah head football coach Kyle Whittingham. Now tell me, Coach Whitt, what's your philosophy on a winning team?
I believe the key to winning is a strong offensive line. When the linemen do their job, nothing gets through to the quarterback, so he can do his job.
Well, what happens if the linemen don't do their job?
Ouch. You know, Bill, I recently learned that kidneys work like linemen for your body. When your kidneys work, they block poisons and chemicals from your blood.
Coach, I've heard that 1 in 9 Americans have some form of kidney disease. What can we do to fight back?
Join me, Coach Kyle Whittingham, and be part of the winning team against kidney disease. Donate your used car or truck to the Kidney Foundation. Your car will be towed for free, and you'll get a receipt for a tax deduction. Tell them how to do that, Bill.
Donate your car to the Kidney Foundation today and make your car a kidney car. Cars to save lives. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS. That's tow cars. Cars with a K. 1-800-TOW-CAR.
Every year, the National Kidney Foundation helps individuals and families affected by kidney disease. Help them out by making your car a kidney car. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here is Michelle Rowe.
Good news for drivers northbound I-15. The earlier delays approaching Bangerter Highway due to an earlier crash have eased. There's no more delays left in that area. So you're looking at good speeds from Provo all the way to Ogden on I-15. Also, the fog up in Heber, that is clearing nicely. Two Brothers Mattress, you'll spend 33% of this year on your mattress. That's almost 3,000 hours. Start sleeping comfortably on a new Serta mattress. Visit twobrothersmattress.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be sunny with highs around 60. Tomorrow the forecast is looking good for the big game. The sun will be out again. Highs just over 60 degrees. Right now it's 46 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, appeared in a federal court this morning. I think it was in Virginia, and entered not guilty pleas to 18 counts that have been filed against him by a federal grand jury. There are 8 counts of what they're calling transmission of national defense information. That means sharing it. And 10 counts of retention of national defense information, meaning that he had it in his possession. FBI agents had raided his house some time ago. I don't remember exactly, but they found they took several boxes out of there. They've also gone into his social media account and found a chat that he created after he took office. ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas has more.
Bolton now faces a long list of charges that could put him in severe legal jeopardy, and he's now the third enemy of President Trump to be indicted after former FBI Director James Comey and Attorney General of New York, who was recently hit with charges. Bolton has been indicted on 18 felony counts, charged with illegally retaining and sharing classified information, much of it about national defense. Prosecutors claim that Bolton was taking copious notes while he was National Security Advisor in Trump's first term, and then putting those notes in the form of diaries. Prosecutors allege that those notes were full of classified information.
Yes, go ahead.
It just, one of the things, Ray, is, look, let me just ask you this question, I guess, to begin, and then we can have a further conversation. But what do you think this case has that maybe the other two didn't have?
That's a good question. So, for one thing, this case has the support of the Department of Justice, where the others didn't. If you recall what Trump did on the other cases, I'm joking. What Trump did on the other cases is he brought in his own U.S. attorney to file those charges. The U.S. attorney wouldn't file those. In this case, an independent or appointed U.S. attorney took the case. Their office took the case. That just tells me this, that the Department of Justice felt like this case had some merit. I would say what it has similar to the other two, Letitia James and James Comey, is that it's a former Trump enemy, someone that Trump didn't like. It's a ticky-tack case. I've read the indictment, and what happened was this, Holly, that after Bolton took office, actually the day he took office, he created a group chat with his wife and daughter, and he was talking about what he was doing there. He was sharing information with his wife and daughter, of all people. He wasn't sharing it with the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times or anything like that. I mean, should he have shared it? Probably not. But it was an inside thing, and he was sort of like almost joking with them. Hey, look, here's what I did today. Almost, he was creating a diary.
Right. So I have to tell you, speaking of the Wall Street Journal, they had a very, very pointed editorial opinion. So this is the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal that I would say has been pretty supportive of Republican agenda items, and they are in full-on support of Mr. Bolton. And they just say, first of all, the very first opening paragraph is, one lesson from Thursday's indictment is that opposing Donald Trump is a perilous business, but working for him can be equally as dangerous. So he did work for Donald Trump. Right. So they address those diary notes, and they say that he was planning to write a book called The Room Where It Happened, and there is precedent for that. So Jimmy Carter's national security advisor wrote extensive journal entries that helped inform his memoir, Power and Principle. So there is precedent for that, and there's a review process. On the Wall Street Journal side, he's been very clear. The White House reviewed it. The statements that he had in there, He had somebody from the White House who went through the entire book and did not find anything classified that should not have been released. So they're saying, look, he'll get his day in court, but the Wall Street Journal says, in our experience, he's a patriot who would do nothing to compromise national security. And they also say this: if Mr. Bolton had praised Mr. Trump in his book, it's safe to say he would not have been indicted.
Even if he had shared the same information.
Right.
Because of that. I didn't realize that there had been some clearance with the White House before the book was published. Yep. And I would also say this: had he not published the book, we probably wouldn't be having the conversation, critical or not. I mean, taking the items and sharing them with his wife and daughter, I don't know that compromises national security or anything.
Well, and especially, it wasn't like a copy of the document. It was his written, memories of it. It was that diary entry that he was sharing, right? And there is a difference, and maybe it's a slight difference, and maybe it's one without much of a distinction. But it's interesting to me, right, that there are some people who are like, absolutely, he's a bad guy. That's what Trump called him today. He's just a bad guy. But remember, Donald Trump also faced some inquiries, at least.
He was indicted, right?
On holding classified information in his bathroom.
Right, yes. And that case would almost certainly have gone to trial by now had he not been elected a year ago. Mm-hmm. That case was moving forward, although at a painfully slow pace, and the Department of Justice just couldn't get it to trial before he took office. He was indicted and charged in 4 different jurisdictions. One, he went to trial and lost. The other 3 ended up getting dismissed because of the fact that he became the president, and they couldn't prosecute him.
Right. So where does it go from here? So he has pleaded not guilty. Now what?
Yeah, so in federal court, it's a little bit different than state court. But the first hearing you do in federal court is you walk in, you say not guilty. People ask me, why do you plead not guilty? Because at that point, you don't know the evidence, and you haven't seen what the case is. You haven't seen what's going on. And a judge will almost, I can't even think of a situation where a judge would accept a guilty plea at the first hearing because nobody has received the police reports yet. Anyway, he appears in court this morning. He pleads not guilty. He walks out of court. They didn't set bail or take him into custody. And they will then set scheduling. So there will be a trial set, although it's sort of an artificial date, in about 90 days. So, January, February. And they'll say the judge will order the government to disclose all their case to the defense within 30 days, share what they call discovery, and then motions are due by 30 days before the trial. They'll set all these dates, none of which are going to be followed closely because this is a case that's going to take a little bit of time to sort out. But the law provides your right to a speedy trial, so the judge will set the speedy trial even though you can waive that down the road and say, hey, I'm not ready yet.
Interesting. So, look, I think it's interesting that we have Attorney General Pam Bondi who says she's going to prosecute everybody that's a threat to national security or no one is above the law. But it does feel like the people they're going after are people that have gotten crosswise with the White House.
And we're talking about, you're exactly right. We're talking about 3 indictments in, a week and a half.
Yeah.
Former FBI Director James Comey, who admittedly got sideways with Trump and was critical of him, he gets indicted, and he gets indicted for sort of similar conduct, although he was charged with lying to Congress about whether or not there was a leak in terms of the Russian influence on the election, whether he directed someone in his office to leak information about that when he was FBI director. Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, she was indicted based on some alleged fraud that she may have committed in connection with a loan on her house or something like that. I mean, those are the kind of things that. So, is there a crime committed? I don't know. Should you prosecute it? If you look historically, and even the Bolton case. Is this something that, and I was a prosecutor for 8 years, and we had to ask ourselves each time we'd have a case, even if the crime's committed, is this the kind of case that we file? Do you charge people with this crime? And not that that's definitive of how you decide to move forward, but you have to look at it. And these are cases that in my years of practice don't get charged. People don't get charged with these crimes. Let's face it. These are exceptions to that. That doesn't mean they didn't commit the crime, and maybe you're going to have to go to a jury on these cases. But if you look at them on their face, these are crimes that would never get charged normally.
Well, we'll see what happens. So, have you ever heard of a quilt-in?
Never.
All right. Well, it's a movement.
Not even sure what it means.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about that. It's a movement that's spreading across the country. Started in Utah. Women are working on peace building, quilt piece by quilt piece. So it's piece by piece. That's coming up next, and we're streaming live on KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule at 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Cooler weather. What a relief, unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill's going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but can't because you're in pain? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help you get out of pain.
I just had difficulty walking when I had the pain. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Are you buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let foot, knee, or back pain get in the way of you staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm bowling 3 nights a week, pain-free.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you with high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. Walk-ins are always welcome. Make this the year you get active and healthy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Attention Jazz Nation. We know you've been waiting on the edge of your seat, and the time has finally arrived. All tickets are available now.
Let's go!
Your favorite players will be back on the court, bringing the energy all season long. Whether you're looking for season tickets, mini plans, or single-game matchups, there's a perfect option for every kind of fan. Show up loud and proud at Delta Center this season. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action. Buy your tickets today at UtahJazz.com.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of victims know their attacker. It could be your friend, your neighbor, or someone you met at a party. If you said no, it's rape, and it's a crime. This is Christina Ricci with RAINN. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline today at 1-800-656-HOPE or visit rainn.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAINN and this station.
And expanded Inside Sources.
So earlier this year, BYU political science professor Jessica Priest found herself feeling distressed and frustrated over recent news and asked herself what she could do to make a difference. And she thought about joining protests. She told me, and I wrote an article about this for the Deseret News a couple of months ago. She thought about joining protests, but she had a job and a family. And so what she decided to do is she was going to hold her own peaceful protest. And it was a quilt-in. And she actually did it outside in February, which doesn't sound very appealing to me. But what she started was really this idea of, can we use quilting as a form of political protest and a peaceful protest, of course. And the answer was yes. And Women Building Peace was born from that movement. And we have with us Alexis Bradley. She's the director of Women Building Peace. Hi, Alexis. Thanks for joining us.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
So just to start out, can you tell us a little bit about this movement that started maybe in February-ish and where it's grown from there?
Yes, this has been so interesting. At first, when I heard quilting, that seemed a little bit hard for those of us that are non-quilters, but really understanding the connection to quilting and women's movements throughout history and women being able to fundraise for causes and issues that are important to them. We have the women's suffrage movement. We have pieces of quilts throughout history, even during the Underground Railroad. There's just so many cool parts of it, and women feeling like they could come together, do something creative, share their voices. And these quilts were really letters to congressional leaders where they could write messages and then we could deliver them. And with the quilts, I feel like there's been so much excitement and a lot of different generational connection where younger people are connecting with their parents, their grandparents, quilting. There's conversation where people are reaching across different political parties to try to find connection points where we use constitutional protections that so many of us want to protect and uphold. And that is kind of the common ground that is bringing so many people together. And we've had hundreds of gatherings all over the nation now. Women have held them in their home, in community centers, in churches. And it's just been really exciting to see that we can really connect and find common ground and connect with people from different political parties and also support this legislative branch of government by writing letters in a way that's not isolating and feeling maybe alone doing it individually, but we're doing it in community. And it's been really exciting to see how many people have wanted to participate in this.
Yeah, I was surprised at that, Alexis. You've had a number of people jumping in to participate in this, and how are people made aware of it? Because I'll tell you honestly, I didn't know anything about it before Holly mentioned it today.
So we have a little Instagram account called Women Building Peace, and it has grown very rapidly. And then with the organization Mormon Women of Ethical Government, for Ethical Government, they have a huge network. And so we are a brand of MWEG, and we have been able to utilize the community within MWEG and then different partners and organizations presenting at conferences. So we kind of have this really cool social media growth and excitement, as well as all these networks of nonprofit organizations that are wanting to come together and work together around the Constitution right now.
So, Alexis, I saw a press release about an event that happened in Tennessee just recently. Do you want to tell us about the Tennessee event?
Yes, so this one was really exciting. It was so cool to see this idea just kind of take form and feel so much like the local culture. So we went to Tennessee and we did an all-night quilt-in. It was actually a lock-in
Wow.
at a Christian church in Tennessee, and it was just so cool to see people from different faith groups work together. And the focus was more a little bit about immigration and human dignity and how we treat people. And there was just this cool feeling with music and food. They had immigrant-owned businesses come in and provide the food. They had musicians sing and perform all night long. They had different pastors and church leaders come in and speak. And we had over 120 women attend, and they quilted all night, and they wrote messages on postcards to deliver to congressional leaders. And it was such an interesting, fun vibe. And so many people that came, they just said, I felt hope, I felt community, and just the layers of the music and the food and the people that were there. It was a really, really cool experience.
Alexis, what kind of response have you had here within Utah? I mean, I think all of us know people or have friends, family members who are big into quilting and just the art of all that. So I can't imagine that you didn't have a lot of people interested in doing this. But tell our listeners what kind of response you've had here in Utah.
Oh, we had an incredible response in Utah. I mean, there's so many women that have a connection to quilting. Their families have a connection, and women that want to do good things, be involved in positive efforts, and are civically engaged. So I feel like our Utah women were really the heart of this whole campaign and made it so big and beautiful and tangible and visual with all of the quilts that we gathered from Utah that I feel like really set this up to be something that people wanted to do all over the nation.
We're speaking with Alexis Bradley, the director of Women Building Peace. And Alexis, I know that you, the organization has been able to give out quilts to congressional representatives, senators. What has the response been from them as you've done that?
So I was able to deliver a lot of those quilts myself with other women, and it was a very positive response. I mean, there were some offices that we went to, we had appointments with, and there was some confusion when they saw the quilts, but when we showed them that each quilt square was a letter from a constituent, you could just see the excitement and the buzz. And as we opened the quilts up and we shared these messages, and many of them we were able to give directly to senators, and it was just a very, very positive response. It was creative. It was tangible. There was a historical connection to it. Some of those leaders have displayed the quilts in their offices. We even got a fun little message that someone was using it to take a nap on their couch. And so I feel like they really did like just the heartfelt messages from their constituents in such a beautiful, creative, powerful form of quilting. And so it was very, very positive and beautiful to deliver. We got a lot of pictures, and it was an awesome experience. And the women have been so excited to see, because we've shared those stories on social media, where it's not just a letter that goes and you're not sure if people are reading it or looking at it. You're hoping they are, but to see their quilts being held by staffers and senators and other congressional leaders, I feel like just gave them hope that they could see that it actually went there and people were reading it.
Yeah, I was going to ask, where do you see these quilts going? And so I'm being selfish here because I'm thinking I would buy one of these tomorrow if they're available. What do you intend to do with them?
Well, right now we want to blanket Congress. We want these quilts to go to every single one of our congressional leaders. We are sending them as messages of hope. We are requesting what we're wanting to be upheld with constitutional guardrails, protections, and it's just something that we want to use as this visible letter from constituents. And then if there's more quilts, we feel like we would love to donate some of those quilts if people wanted to purchase them so that we could continue some of these important efforts. We are just seeing now more than ever the need for women to gather and to connect and to have opportunities to talk with their neighbors, family members, and build connections even within differences.
Okay, one final quick question. If people want to know more about your efforts, where should they go?
So Women Building Peace, we have a website. We have a great Instagram account where we show so many of the visual creative parts of this. And we're getting ready right now to launch a postcard campaign. It's called Pen Your Power, and it's focused on checks and balances, due process, human dignity, and women get to write these messages, and we will also be delivering them to Washington, D.C. with many of these quilts, and we would love for people to get involved, and they can connect on our website or through our Instagram account.
Thanks, Alexis. That was Alexis Bradley, Director of Women Building Peace, and there was a really interesting article written about this, and as I started reading it, I realized you wrote it.
I wrote it.
Holly Richardson, Piece by Piece, Stitching Hope into the Fabric of Democracy. Be sure you check that out. We'll be right back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story, BYU and Utah are getting ready for their game at LaVell Edwards Stadium tomorrow night. It's expected to be one of the most consequential rivalry games in years. This will be the first time since 2009 both the Cougars and Utes enter the rivalry game ranked in the AP Top 25. BYU defensive coordinator Jay Hill shared what he thinks they need to do to have success against the Utes.
Well, I think we need to do a great job of stopping the run. We can't let the quarterback be super efficient when he does throw it.
You can catch all the action here on KSL News Radio. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. Our pregame starts at noon with Cougar Sports Saturday. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, pickleball has surged in popularity, but a new study found that a certain kind of injury has also increased.
Pickleball has its own lingo, like kitchen and dink. But it also may have its own health drawback, eye injuries. There were 1,250 blamed on pickleball in the U.S. last year, according to a JAMA ophthalmology study. It also found the number of eye injuries associated with pickleball went up by 400 each year from 2021 through 2024, and 70% of those came in players 50 or older. The American Academy of Ophthalmology is recommending F3164 protective eyewear that's standard in racket sports. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 200 points now. That's over 0.4%. We're at 46,148. Coming up, sunny and dry for the rivalry game. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Jim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want to tell you about our famous "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. That's right. It's a warranty you don't need, but we give it to you anyway. Let me explain. Most warranty problems for siding, gutters, and windows are caused by not installing stuff right in the first place. If you rush the work, cut corners, or use subpar materials, you're just begging for problems later. At RGS Exteriors, we don't tolerate careless workmanship. We slow down, focus on every detail, and use only the best materials. We prevent warranty work by doing the job right in the first place. That's why the 10-year everything guarantee we give you is also known as our "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. We absolutely will be there if you need to use it. But honestly, you probably will never have to. Done right the first time. That's the RGS way. For siding, gutters, and windows, call 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriors.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
How do they get so excited about 50 yards?
Think of what you could sew with that.
But you need a really great sewing machine, a Bernina.
Get Bernina sewing, serging, and embroidery machines and accessories at fantastic prices. The Bernina Super Weekend Sale.
Don't miss this Dave's Bernina Super Saturday one-day event, October 18th at our Provo and St. George stores. Featuring 0% financing for 48 or 72 months on qualifying purchases made October 18th.
Save hundreds to thousands of dollars on all new Bernina machines. Even the most advanced sewing machine in the world, the Bernina 990, is on sale.
And receive a free $5,200 gift bundle.
Hurry in for amazing bargains on trade-ins and just out-of-the-box special event demo machines that come with warranties.
Unbeatable one-day Super Saturday, October 18th discounts and clearance items throughout the store.
Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And back to you, Michelle.
Reports of a disabled vehicle southbound I-15 at 106 South in Sandy. So just something to watch for as you're going through that area. Titanic, the exhibition, opens October 17th at the shops at Southtown. Step aboard to experience the full-scale recreations, see artifacts, and hear real passenger stories. Don't miss it. Book passage today at titanicexhibition.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be sunny with a high around 60. Tomorrow, the forecast looks good for the big game. The sun will be out again. Highs around 63 degrees. Right now, it's 48 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Yesterday during our show, President Trump and Russian President Putin spoke on the phone for what seemed like several hours, talking about trying to broker some sort of a peace agreement. And the result of that seems to be that the two presidents are going to meet in Hungary. We don't have a date for that right away, but there is going to be a meeting to try to broker a peace agreement. Today, President Trump is meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky at the White House, and Zelensky is going for not necessarily to have talks about peace, but to ask for some support with respect to weaponry.
That's right. So we actually have ABC News Chief White House Correspondent Mary Bruce with a little more.
President Trump today prepares to meet with President Zelensky here in the Oval Office. Trump now says he also plans to meet again with Russian President Putin soon, too. It's been 2 months since their face-to-face in Alaska failed to make headway, and Russia has only escalated its attack since then, overnight, striking Zelensky's hometown. But after speaking yesterday on the phone for over 2 hours, Trump announced that he and Putin plan to meet again in the coming weeks, this time in Hungary.
So again, there's no specific date set, and it's one of the. Of course, it's a huge issue. We're coming up on 3 years. I guess it's February, right? Or 4 years. Sorry, in February it'll be 4 years. So Zelensky wants some Tomahawk missiles, and there had been an indication that President Trump was willing to let Ukraine have those, but he kind of backed off a little bit and seems to soften a little bit because he said after the phone call yesterday that Putin wasn't really in favor of that plan.
Yeah, and if you recall, last time the two presidents of the United States and Russia met,
it was
in Alaska, and we all came out of it feeling like something was going forward. But as the guest the voice that we just heard from ABC News indicated, it just escalated things from Russia's perspective. I mean, they were bombing literally during the meeting.
That's right.
And hitting Zelensky's hometown.
Yep.
I mean, I almost feel like President Putin was thumbing his nose at the United States at that time and daring us to do something.
It has continued, right? And it recently, President Trump said, look, I think Ukraine can win this war, which, again, President Putin was not really impressed with.
Right. So as the conflict drags on, there seems to be sort of no clear resolution. Here's more from ABC News.
the president has said part of the reason he thought this would be an easier war for him to solve is because he does have this personal relationship with Putin. But that relationship has only gotten him so far. And we certainly have seen him be willing to be a bit tougher publicly on Putin. Trump has been blunt that often Putin says one thing to him on the phone and then he turns around and does something very different. So it's not necessarily clear that the conditions have changed, but certainly the president is willing to give it another go here.
And again, we're talking about a country that invaded another sovereign country, and there has been back and forth. I think Russia is not willing to negotiate. Honestly, I think that that's their stance. They say they want to have this land, not only land that they have put troops on, but land they haven't successfully been able to put troops on, but has a lot of critical minerals. They say they'll take that in a deal. But what sovereign country says, hey, I'll just give you my land?
Right,
and,
you can have our west
coast. That's right. You can have our west coast, and
we'll call it even. And it seems like there's a completely different dialogue that goes on between Trump, Putin, and Trump, Zelensky, where he's talking to Putin about, we've got to end this. Let's set a ceasefire. Let's at least call off he's at least asking for some ceasefire until they can get negotiations going. Of course, that hasn't gone anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Russia's continuing to invade and continuing to make headway. And Zelensky's saying, I need help. I need weapons. I don't need peace talks. I need Tomahawk missiles. And the United States seems like they're sort of working both ways of this. But maybe the way you get to Putin is by sending some missiles his way and saying, look, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way.
I think that actually probably is Zelensky's stance. I think he is willing to have peace talks, but he's also been clear that peace talks have not worked and that Putin only responds basically to shows of strength. So we also know European countries are bracing for Putin to expand his efforts, right, into Poland. Poland has now underground bunkers and have doing war preparations for their citizens because they don't feel like Putin wants to stop with Ukraine.
And if you recall, one of the criticisms for the meeting between Trump and Putin in Alaska was that Zelensky wasn't invited.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought, where am I as part of these negotiations and discussions? We're not hearing that Zelensky's going to the meeting in Hungary either yet.
Yeah.
But it would seem, it almost seems like, Holly, that some nation, maybe not the United States, should come in and try to mediate this or work something out because we're not getting anywhere. Trump said he'd end that war first thing he took
24
office,
hours.
And here we are, 10 months into his presidency, and there's just that war is not any closer to being resolved than it was 10 months ago.
Again, it's interesting, this approach. And you're right. I think the EU, the European Union, they're absolutely willing to come to the table, but they are on the side, largely, not 100%, but they're largely on the side of Ukraine saying, look, they have the right to be a sovereign nation. They shouldn't have to give up their land to this invader.
So how do you resolve it? Because Russia's already in. They've already got a foothold. Do you just say, okay, back out. You're done.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the only way. And then how does Putin face his public? What did we do for the last several years?
Right, exactly. So there's look, one of the things that people have talked about is imposing more economic sanctions on Russia, that their economy has really all turned towards the war effort. People are starving to death in Russia because there's no money, there's no food. It's all going to the war effort. And just this week, President Trump said that India has cut their imports of Russian oil by half, and yet people who are actually looking at the oil that's leaving Russia are saying we don't see any evidence that they've actually cut their buying of Russian oil. So that's one of the issues, right? Russia still has a market to sell things in parts of the world. They also have allies. North Korea is an ally, Iran, China. Right. They're allies in providing equipment for the war effort to invade Ukraine.
And you have to imagine that China will purchase, especially at discounted rates now, as much Russian oil and natural gas as they can get their hands on, because Russia's obviously had to cut the price back because they don't have I think they were a huge supplier to Western Europe.
Right, exactly. They have been, and they're Western Europe is trying to be energy independent, at least not reliant at all on Russia, because that's one of the things, right, is you get this entanglement of we rely on them for XYZ. So yes, it's hard to disentangle ourselves, but we do the same with China, saying we get so much of our goods from them and our pharmaceuticals and things like that. We are beholden to them in some ways.
It's kind of like the government shutdown that you've got two parties, the immovable object and the irresistible force, and we're not getting any closer together. I don't know which one of these two conflicts is going to end sooner. But
the shutdown or the Russia war?
Yeah, the Russian war.
I hope the shutdown, right? Because we're 3.5 years into the other one.
Right. Well, have you ever eaten Uncrustables?
I have, actually. So it's those frozen peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I'm actually impatient, and I will eat crunchy peanut butter because it's still frozen.
Yuck. Well, there's a lawsuit going on between two companies that make the similar product. We're going to talk about that when we come back. That's streaming. Remember, we're streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
Red Cross brought relief supplies.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
It's the movie show broadcasting live today from Minky Couture in Orem.
Hi.
We usually are in Layton, but we're so excited to be in Orem today, and I'm joined by Claire from Minky. Okay, look, this is the day when everybody storms into Minky. I'm just warning you now.
It's going to be
because
so
we're
fun.
usually not here, but they're going to be coming in. But what are they going to find when they get here?
You are going to find the biggest selection you could possibly imagine. We have so much in our stores for inventory. We also are bulking up for our huge white glove sale that we have coming
Okay, tell me about the white glove sale, because I've heard of this.
Yes.
Do we have to wear white gloves when we come in the store?
No. We wear the white gloves because it's that white glove service that we offer at that day. It's our kickoff to our holiday season, so it's actually our largest sale of the year. It's an awesome deal, like so fun, and you get all of our holiday prints that are launching and all of our fun things.
Yeah, I'm noticing some definite, some Halloween looking, the orange and white, maybe like the candy corn style, or you could call it jack-o'-lantern style.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a nice Halloween vibe in here. But I'm also noticing, Claire, something I have never seen before, which is college team logos on a Minky blanket.
Yes, that's correct. We just officially launched our collegiate line. We have all 7 universities in Utah, and we carry them in stores and online. They're the coolest blankets ever. They're so amazing, and we have them in 2 different styles right now, and our 3rd is about to be restocked.
Okay, so you've got, what are the 2 styles then?
We have the Hugs and the Everywhere blankets right now.
Oh, so you could
blankets.
stadium them actually with the
Yes,
logo.
yeah.
Oh, wow, this is an amazing deal.
They're
okay,
awesome.
Now, you guys have been running a promotion all week long, Movie 50, since the movie show is coming. But I feel like you can do better than that, Claire.
You know what?
Can you do better than that?
I think we can. We would love to offer our listeners today 55% off with the code MOVIE55,
Yes.
and that'll be in-store or online all through today.
Okay, so Movie 55 today only.
Yep.
And
For
you can get
listening in.
your favorite college team, which is, of course, BYU, because we are literally up the street from Lavelle Edwards Stadium.
I'm glad you clarified. So the collegiates, because of the official licensing, they are on a marked down deal for you today, but we can't, unfortunately, stack any deal on top of that.
Okay, so there is a good deal on those, but the 55 applies
Will be-
to everything else.
Yep, everything else that's full price.
All right, Claire. All locations 55% off today, online or in stores.
Yep.
Okay, we'll talk to you more coming up.
Okay, awesome. Whoa.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays hit different when you earn them. We've got you covered with outdoor power equipment from Cobalt and everything you need to weatherproof your deck with Trex Decking. Plus, with lawn care from Scott's and, of course, Pit Boss grills and accessories, you can get a home field advantage all season long. So get to Lowe's, get it done, and earn your Sunday. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Also that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you are facing divorce, call Cordell and Cordell today.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. CordellCordell.com.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Well, Smucker's is spreading more than just peanut butter these days. It's launching a legal battle over its beloved Uncrustables, which I have had, by the way. The jelly giant claims Trader Joe's crustless frozen sandwiches are a little bit too close for comfort.
J.M. Smucker is known for its jams and jellies and peanut butter. And way back last century, it introduced Uncrustables, a frozen PB&J sandwich with crust trimmed and edges crimped like a pie. Now Trader Joe's has introduced a similar product, a little more square in shape, but Smucker's not happy. The company says it does not take issue with others in the marketplace selling prepackaged frozen thaw-and-eat crustless sandwiches. It's the design and packaging that it says is too similar. The same blue color used in Uncrustables lettering and a picture on the box of a sandwich with a bite taken out. That's all laid out in a lawsuit seeking restitution from Trader Joe's and surrender of all products and packaging to Smucker to be destroyed. I'm Ben Thomas.
It makes me laugh. I mean,
I know.
Okay, so let's talk about the lawsuit. What is it? I understand they think that Trader Joe's is too close to theirs. Look, there's a variety of companies that do these sandwiches without the crust on, which is an interesting thing, right? Because kids always say, well, cut the crust off, right? That's the not good part of the bread. Anyway, so I think it was a smart move for them to create this. And as we heard from that little soundbite, last century.
Right, yeah.
So they've been around for a little while.
More than 25 years ago.
But from a legal perspective, what is it that they're claiming?
Okay, so they're claiming that there's been a trademark infringement, and what they're saying also is unfair competition. So you're right. You can make your own crustless sandwich and put peanut butter and jelly in it, but you can't market it and create it so that it looks like a Crustable. So that because what Smucker's is saying is, look, we spent all this money, we built up this brand name, we've got this great product, we're making a lot of money, and then you virtually copy it so that all of our efforts became your marketing. And they're saying that's unfair to us. You do your own. And if you look at the cover, the box of both of them, they do both have a biscuit, whatever you want to call it, sandwich with a bite taken out of it. I mean, it almost looks like the same picture, the same color lettering. And they have different names. I think Trader Joe's is called Crustless and Smucker's is called Uncrustables. But it's the same idea. It's a PBJ, and they're folded together and sort of crimped on the edges. It's like a little pie kind of a thing.
So I'm have purchased Walmart generic brand Uncrustables, except they're not called that, right? They're called No Crust. And I just pulled up a picture, and they're square-ish, maybe rectangular. And so I wonder, is that the difference? Because they're more square and less round and they're cut across instead of looking like they have a bite taken out of it?
So that no one would mistake them for the same product.
Well,
so
I wouldn't mistake Trader Joe's for the same product.
Well, maybe you would. Let's say you went to some event and you had one and this is really good. I want to get some of those again. And you go to the store and you see Trader Joe's and go, hey, that looks just like what I bought. I'm going to buy that. It's too close. That's Smucker's argument.
Yeah.
And I know it's not the greatest in the world, but they're trying to just get Trader Joe's to say, look, you need to separate yourself from our product. We built this brand. We built this our recognition. People know who we are. They know that Walmart might sell some other variety or someone else might sell something else. It looks different.
Right.
It's marketed different, but you're getting a little too close to home.
Well, I don't know about that, but but let's talk about Uncrustables because when I was raising the kids, I did not buy Uncrustables. I just made them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, right? And if they needed the crust cut off, then I would do it, and I didn't crimp the edges. My husband does not like Uncrustables. He would rather just make a sandwich. But now at home, it's just like I buy some, I stick them in the freezer. If the adult kids want them while I'm gone, they can help themselves. They could also make their own. Yes, that's true. But I find for myself when I pull them out for me, they're like about the half of a regular sandwich size, I think.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty small.
Yeah,
right?
They're not very big. And but I'm too impatient to wait for them to thaw.
Oh, you should eat them while they're cold.
I do.
So let me tell you my Uncrustables story. And it's a terrible one, but I do this bicycle race every year, and it goes from Logan, Utah to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It's 200 miles. And one year, my wife thought Uncrustables will be the perfect fuel for this event because they're individually packed. They're so you can stick them in your pocket. They don't seem to squish too easily, especially if they're a little bit frozen.
Right.
Because you're in your bike shirt,
Right.
And so I probably had 10 or 15 of them during this 8-hour, 200-mile ride. And by the time I was done, I didn't want to eat another Uncrustable. I haven't had one since. I'll never have one again. They fueled me. I will say this. They got me to the finish line. But you just can't eat something like that so much. At some point, it's like, okay, time out. I can't eat these anymore. And besides, I like the crust.
Yeah, well, that's funny. Yeah. So we're talking about Trader Joe's, actually. But let me just pivot and say there's another Trader Joe's coming to Utah. So this one's coming down to Harriman, and that'll be the 8th Trader Joe's in Utah. Do you shop at Trader Joe's?
I don't, but not for any reason other than there's just not one that's convenient.
That's close by,
I'm told they're really good, and it has things that maybe other stores don't. But my wife likes them, but I don't. We live up in the Ogden Valley, and I don't even know if there's one in Weber County. I can't think of a Trader Joe's up there.
So I only go there occasionally. It's not very often. We do have one down in Orem, which is kind of close to where I am. In fact, there's going to be one in Riverdale. I guess that's kind of close to you.
That's very close.
But I don't shop there a lot. I think though that they really have a strong following. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't keep building stores, right? But
what is their marketing? Is it natural food or I don't remember what Trader Joe's is. I mean, it looks like they're very fancy inside and more beautiful than some of the other grocery stores.
It's we'll have to ask some of our listeners if they have a second to text us what's the appeal to Trader Joe's, but
or the appeal to Uncrustables, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But look, for me, Trader Joe's is pricier. I think they might be more organic. You can find. I know that they do have a really good selection of gluten-free, though, so that might work for your family because I know you have to be considerate about that. So they do have a good gluten-free selection.
And there's one opening in Riverdale. Yeah, obviously we'll check that out, especially if they do have a gluten-free section. So yeah, let's revisit something. If you have experience with Trader Joe's or Uncrustables, and you want to share it with us, 57500. We'll read them during the next segment. Do you like Uncrustables? Do you like Trader Joe's? What do you like about either one of those? I think that'll be interesting to sort of pivot to when we come back.
Yeah. But when you're talking about trademark infringement stuff, I know that people have to be careful, but what do you think the remedy might be from the Trader Joe's perspective?
I think a simple remedy is that you change your marketing, you change your picture, and they may have to make their sandwiches oval or triangular, or they look a little bit. If you hold them up next to each other, right? Yeah, and that was a smart thing to do. What Smucker's is trying to do is protect their brand. If you recall,
sure,
and this may not be the best example, Kleenex created this product, and then everybody just calls their
tissues
Kleenex.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
right.
Kleenex was so good that everyone just assumed that's the product, and so there's almost no trademark or copyright infringement when you deal with something like that, because they let their product get way too out in the community. And I may be wrong. Some legal expert's probably going to hammer me here. But Smucker's is trying to protect their brand.
Yeah. Let me add a couple of things that we do have from texters. One reminds us that the one in Riverdale is already open, so there you go.
Okay.
Their flowers at Trader Joe's is a big plus for one of our listeners. One texter says that Trader Joe's, one of the big drawbacks is you have to walk around people standing at the shelves reading the labels. All the granola crunching tree huggers read the label of everything you buy. And then another one says they love Trader Joe's because they have specialty items and they go there around the holidays for gifts and special treats. And then one specifically on Uncrustables say they like Uncrustables frozen more than thawed. Okay, so there we go. We have another one that says Trader Joe's is reasonably priced. They have a lot of unique items that are very inexpensive. They do cater in a few areas to gluten-free. Another one on flowers, and one on packaging.
So for a guy that's in the doghouse about once a month, it's good to find
You
another
better
place
go.
on the way home that has flowers. Checking it out right away. When we come back, Senator John Curtis is hosting his 4th annual Conservative Climate Summit at the University of Utah today. We expect Senator John Curtis to call us with more details after the break.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour is our top national story. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton appeared in court a short time ago after being indicted with unlawful retention and dissemination of national defense information.
Bolton arriving at court this morning, we're told that he surrendered, he was processed. There was obviously a warrant for his arrest, so he went and turned himself in at this federal courthouse, processed behind closed doors. There's no cameras in court.
ABC's Catherine Falder says Bolton entered a not guilty plea. The entire hearing took about 13 minutes. Around 1,500 homes and businesses are without power in the Ogden area. Police tell us a car crashed into a power pole. Rocky Mountain Power has crews working on repairs. Firefighters were called to a dog food factory in Ogden last evening for the second time this year. Deputy Fire Chief Matthew Hess says the fire started in an oven that makes dog biscuits.
On the second floor where the oven was located, that entire room was charged with smoke, and so visibility was down to 0.
They say the fire was difficult to fight because the building is large and like a maze. Your money at this moment right now, the Dow is up 235 points. That's 0.5%. We're at 46,187. Coming up, a perfect Saturday for football. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 1031. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
The movie show broadcasting live today from Minky Couture, and we are in Orem, right on University Parkway, at I believe 301 East. So, And we are on the north side of the road. I found that out the hard way by trying to look on the south side, and then I ended up going past it, and I had to turn around. But the reason we mention that is we've got an amazing deal going at Minky Couture today. I've got Claire with me, the manager for the Orem store. Claire, first of all, you got your white glove event going on, which I've learned I don't have to wear the white gloves. You guys wear the white gloves.
Yep, we will offer that white glove service and carry out all of the blankets for you and just treat you like royalty. So it's a great sale to come in.
I've heard that Christmas music is being played some places already,
Yeah.
which means it's time to be thinking about those gifts for the holidays. And, hey, there's a reason you guys say a Minky blanket is the best gift ever, because it is.
It really is. Yeah, they are the best gift ever. And honestly, Minky Couture is the perfect place to do all of your holiday shopping because we offer something for everyone. We've got blankets, robes, pillowcases, bags, and we just launched our collegiate line. So we have
This is so cool.
It is so cool. We have all 7 universities in Utah right now, and we have so many more schools coming. So they're really, really awesome.
You know, when I was looking before, I just had to try to find one that was in the color of the school that I liked. Now I can get one that actually has my school's logo on it.
Yep, and honestly, they're so cool. And we have the hugs and the outdoor blankets, our everywhere blankets. So you can take them to the stadiums, you can can snuggle in at home. They're just so
You know,
cool.
they're really good to keep in the car because you never know when you're going to need them. You can wrap up if you're in your own car. They're a great emergency type of situation.
Yeah, they're awesome.
So the other thing, Halloween collections.
Yeah.
So we jumped to Christmas, but let's not forget we have Halloween Minkies.
We do still have lots of Halloween, and in store you can get 60% off of all of our Halloween prints for the rest of the month. Wow. So exciting. And they're on really great deals right now.
But it's the movie show. And on the movie show, we want special deals. So what is the special deal for movie show listeners
So,
today?
we've been doing movie 50 for everyone today. But for all of the listeners today, we are offering 55% off with movie 55. But we thought it'd be fun to give our Orem visitors a little extra deal. So come in for 56% off.
I love it.
Today only.
If you come in and say hi to the movie show while we're here, you get movie 56.
Yep. So come on into Orem for 56%.
All
Everywhere
right.
else, 55.
I love it. 7 Utah store locations or online at minkycouture.com.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And back to you, Michelle.
Good news for drivers in Soundy, southbound I-15, joining I-15 at 106 South. That disabled vehicle that was blocking the right lane at the on-ramp has been cleared. Moving at posted speeds, I-15 across the corridor. Northbound I-15, we're seeing a travel time of about 16 minutes from Draper to downtown. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be sunny with a high around 60, 63 tomorrow, 72 on Sunday. Right now it's 50 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Senator John Curtis is in town today hosting the 4th Annual Conservative Climate Summit. I've attended previous summits, and it's really interesting because he has carved out a place that didn't used to exist, really. I mean, I think one of the things that Curtis is known for is putting together this, not only this gathering, but the Conservative Climate Caucus on Washington, D.C.'s Capitol Hill, where he's saying, look, it's not wrong for conservatives to say we care about the environment, right? So he really has been passionate about that issue.
Right, and I was curious myself when you consider a conservative climate conference, the position of conservatives often with respect to the climate is that, like Donald Trump said to the UN, there isn't a problem. It's a hoax is the word he used. I don't know that Senator Curtis would use that, but I do appreciate what you just said, which is no matter what you think, whatever's going on, something's going on because the climate is changing, and we need to do something about it, whether it's man-made or just the natural flow of things. And so I appreciate that we're having the discussion still.
Well, and do you remember his background before he ended up in Congress was as mayor of Provo, and he was talking about energy there too. So it's not just the climate, but it has to do with energy innovation. And he's talked before about wanting to be not only energy independent, but energy dominant, right? And so he has an all of the above approach where he has been an outspoken supporter of solar energy, of wind energy, geothermal energy, right? So there's a variety of things that kind of fall into this category that Senator Curtis has been championing. And sometimes that puts him a little bit at cross messaging, I guess, with the White House, because the White House is saying, well, we don't like solar and we don't like wind.
Yeah, drill, baby, drill. And just keep with the fossil fuels. And I think a lot of people, including Senator Curtis, are thinking, well, we should at least consider other options, including nuclear. That's another one that I think Utah is going to be jumping into with both feet soon. Are these small?
Well, already, we talked about those modular nuclear
reactors.
So some of the discussions that they're having today, they're talking about strengthening the American energy industry through smart policies. And we do have him with us right now. Welcome to our show, Senator Curtis. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello. Oh, this is a delight for me. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your summit today, just really briefly.
Well, this is our fourth year, and it really started as an effort to really demonstrate that conservatives actually were also very good on this issue. Sometimes we don't like to talk about it or we're uncomfortable talking about it, but my experience is every Utahn cares deeply about the earth and leaving it better than they found it. And so this summit started as a way to engage conservatives in that conversation in a way that they were comfortable with. And we're now in our fourth year. I just, when I saw the crowd out there, I just was really, really gratifying. We've got great speakers. We just spoke with Secretary Wright, and a lot of the emphasis today is on innovation, on how Utah can lead. And there's no reason Utah can't really lead not just the country but the world in energy innovation.
So, Senator, how comfortable are conservatives talking about this right now? And I mean, in all sincerity, I'm so happy that you're doing this Conservative Climate Summit, but there are some conservatives who may argue we don't need to have such a thing.
So, listen, it depends on how you view it. And when I talk to groups, I tease them and I say, look, I want you to all go home tonight, go into the bathroom, close the door, look in the mirror, and say the word climate. And they laugh because, and what's happened, sadly, is the word climate has become associated in a bad way with extremism, with things that are hard for many Utahns and conservatives to connect with. And so because they push away from the word conservative, it feels like they're pushing away from being good stewards of the earth, which that's the disconnect, if that makes sense, right? Like Utahns, we do care deeply about wanting to leave the earth better than we found it. And so I use the word climate because back in Washington, you're not taken seriously if you don't. But a lot of people are still kind of uncomfortable with the word. But whether it's the word or the actions are actually far more important. And Utah is showing that we do care deeply, and I think also an important part of that discussion is the climate narrative led to a demonization of fossil fuels, which demonize people in Carbon County and the Uinta Basin. And I've been fighting and pushing hard back against that really hard, too. That's a false narrative. We can have clean, abundant, affordable energy, and we don't need to demonize our original fuel sources as well.
Senator Curtis, tell us a little bit about energy reliability and how you're focusing on that.
Well, you bring up a really good point, and Europe is a good example. They went down this path where all they cared about was clean, and they woke up one morning and they were buying dirty fuel from an enemy, Russia, and what they had built had no reliability, and in just the renewables only, without storage or anything like that. And it was a really bad place to be. And it shows you what happens if you leave one of the three legs out of the equation. And in their case, they left out reliability and affordability. And as a stereotype, Republicans are really good about talking about affordability and reliability, and my Democratic colleagues are good about talking about clean. But the reality of it is all three of those are important. The market is driving clean, and people want to buy clean. And we're, what we're doing with our traditional fossil fuels here is moving rapidly towards clean. And that's the part of the discussion that's frequently left out.
Senator, can you tell our listeners the type of groups or the type of people that are attending your event, and the vendors themselves? Without no names, but just who's there?
Yeah. So the reason I laughed is I'm looking out in the audience. I know I've got hardcore Republican delegates who are kind of got their arms folded, right? Like, we're here, check this Curtis guy, like, what's going on here? And then I have people who would be very comfortable in that original stereotype of climate, if that makes sense. And so the audience really spans that whole group. And I've learned over the years that there is a way to connect those two groups, and that's what this summit does. It speaks to people who are very conservative and who have been suspicious about the climate movement, but it also speaks to people who are really worried about emissions and want us to do more. And we try to navigate and show that there are practical solutions that satisfy both of these groups, and that's really what we're trying to do today.
One final quick question, if you don't mind. What do you see as the future right now of solar and wind with some different messaging coming out of the White House?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you from my perspective, we need every electron we can get. And we're talking about massive, massive increases of power. I mean, one way to say it is you'd need 100 full-size nuclear plants just to keep up with next year's demand. And so my personal opinion is, look, Republicans have always said all of the above. We need to mean it. And we do need every electron we can get. And the marketplace, by the way, is sifting those three things: reliability, affordability, and cleanliness. It's sifting all of those. And so where you've got renewables and you don't have storage, you do have some reliability issues. And so they've got to work on that. But we need in my opinion, we need all energy sources to be not just successful, but wildly successful.
Thank you so much. We've been speaking with Senator John Curtis, and he joins us from his climate summit. That's the 4th annual one. So we've made it to the weekend. That means there's a huge rivalry game and the movie show. Stay with us when we come back after the break.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
It's the movie show, broadcasting live from Minky Couture in Orem. The movie show beginning in about 15 minutes. But before that, we got to make sure you know about the amazing sale they've got going here at Minky Couture. I'm joined by Claire here, the store manager. We're at the Orem location, 301 East University Parkway, right on the main strip, on your way to Lavelle Edwards Stadium. But you're going to want to stop in today because, Claire, you've got deals. And honestly, this store is so huge. I don't think I've ever seen so many Minkies in my life.
Yeah, I know. It's such a big store, and we have such a wide variety of colors and styles and textures and everything, and we have so much inventory. We're all stocked up for the holidays coming up, so it's a great place to come in.
What makes a Minky blanket the best gift ever?
Yeah, no, I love that you asked that. Honestly, Minky Couture is just the perfect shop or stop for anything that you could possibly need. We have so many varieties and so many things that we offer. So if you are not a blanket person, you can come in and try anything else that we carry. We have robes, pillowcases, purses, and bags. And we also have our outdoor blankets, which are so awesome for
tell us a little bit about the outdoor blanket. So it's got the soft Minky on the inside, but on the outside.
Yeah, it's like a water-resistant material, so it'll keep you nice and dry while you're also being warm from the Minky material on the other side. And so they also have a hood, so if you're sitting outside and you're in a rainstorm or in a snow blizzard at a game or at a park, you will stay completely warm and dry.
They're called Anywhere blanket, but they're really the stadium kind of blanket because that's what they seem to work best for.
Yeah.
Whether you're at the college game or whether you're at the little park where your kids are playing soccer, it really is comfortable and soft.
And they're a great size too, so if you do have some kids that you're sitting at the park with, you can fit a couple people on the blanket, or it'll be the right size to wrap yourself around and stay warm.
All right, let's talk about some of the deals. You've got your Halloween collection is on a special discount today.
Yep. In stores, we're offering 60% off of our Halloween prints. So it's a really great time to come in and get those before the Halloween is here.
And then you guys have your white glove event. That's not today.
Yeah,
but you guys are getting
up.
ready for that.
Yep, it's on November 1st, so it's the day after Halloween. It's going to be our kickoff to our holiday season. Lots of inventory. We also launched tons of new exciting things, and we'll have all of our our Christmas blankets as well.
Okay, and the deal we've got today only. If you go online or come into one of their 7 locations, including a new one in Logan.
Yep, we just opened Logan.
Movie 55. If you come in here to the Orem store, you can get movie 56.
Yes.
That's the big secret.
A little extra deal.
Or you can go online to minkycouture.com.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Inside Sources.
So I have to follow up on the Uncrustable discussion. So we had one texter say, you know, it's kind of ironic or maybe more dumb that we'll spend $1 for a frozen sandwich that we could make for 8 cents. Okay, that's a fair point. And several other texters who talked about Trader Joe's loving the holiday items, again, the flowers. But there was one texter who sent me an article or sent us an article from The Athletic, which is basically the sports thing underneath the New York Times. And they wanted to do a study to say how many Uncrustables NFL teams go through every year. Do you want to make it? Yes, it's a lot.
Seriously.
It's so their story from it's 2024. And their title is, wait, NFL players eat how many Uncrustables? They found the teams eat anywhere from 3,600 to 4,300 Uncrustables a week. And that means over the course of a season, it's 80,000 Uncrustables for the NFL.
Yum, yum. Well,
yum.
They are a great source of energy, I would say. I mean, that's why I took them that day. Like I said, never do it again. But you got to mix it up. You got to mix it up a little. And I still enjoy PBJ. I mean,
yeah, I'll have to make my own. I feel guilty for paying $1 when I can pay 8 cents. Okay.
Yeah. Well, speaking of football, we are now less than 36 hours from kickoff between 15th ranked BYU and 23rd ranked Utah. Here's a preview from KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Well, no matter who you cheer for, it's expected to be a great game with BYU entering undefeated and Utah entering with just one loss on the season. So not only will this have big implications for the Big 12 title race, this will also be the first time in 16 years the Utes and Cougars play each other as top 25 teams. Both Utah head coach Kyle Whittingham and BYU head coach Kalani Sitake spoke ahead of the matchup.
I would say it's shaping up to be the biggest event in the state of Utah, sporting event like it is most years.
The players are going to be well coached, they'll be tough, and they'll be physical. So it's going to be a great matchup, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
The Cougars are looking to win their third straight game against the Utes, while Utah So going to pick up their first win against BYU since 2019. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
What I like about the rivalry game is it seems like about every year, maybe every other year, it's the biggest game between the two that we've ever had. It's the most important game ever. I mean, 15th ranked and 23rd ranked.
That's pretty big.
Those are probably some of the highest rankings that we've ever had when both teams played at the same time. I mean, certainly BYU, well, both teams have been ranked higher at certain times, but maybe at the same time, both nationally ranked, that's a big deal.
Okay, we've got to pivot to the movie show. So we have the host of the KSL movie show, Andy Farnsworth. We've got movie critic Rachel Wagner. We know they're down with Minky Couture and Orem. Tell us about movies this week.
Well, we got a couple of movies. The one that's probably going to win the box office, I really wanted to go see, but my car didn't work, and so I was not able to go see The Black Phone 2. But I was able to make it to see Good Fortune, starring Keanu Reeves, Aziz Ansari, and Seth Rogen. Do we have a clip from that by any chance? Okay. Sorry, bro. That's what we do on the movie show when we don't have an audio clip. So basically this is a movie that's kind of a commentary on the haves and the have-nots of today. But it kind of mixes Trading Places, if you remember that movie, with Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy.
Yep.
And it mixes a little bit of It's a Wonderful Life in there. And if you ever saw Meet Joe Black, it's like kind of a weird mix of all three of these things. But Keanu Reeves plays an angel, and he's a guardian angel. He's got little tiny wings because he's like a junior angel. And his job, he has one job, and that's to prevent texting and driving crashes. But he wants to do something bigger. Like, he wants to save a lost soul, but he's not supposed to. But he sees Aziz Ansari, who's a college grad who can only work in the gig economy and is basically living out of his car. And he's like, I think I can help him. Here, I'm going to show you your life. And he shows him what his life's going to be like. And he's like, that sucks. And so then he's like, you think it'd be great if you were rich like Seth Rogen here? Well, here, I'll show you, and I'll swap places with you guys. He's not supposed to do this with any of his powers,
it's like
but
the
he does.
reverse of It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then he's like, now, do you see it? It doesn't solve your problems. And he's like, actually, it solved most of my problems.
So, Rachel,
so now he doesn't want to switch back.
How do we possibly pull off Keanu Reeves as an angel? I mean, that seems like that's acting at its finest, isn't it, Rachel?
Well, he's, I think, actually a really sweet guy. That's the impression I have, at least. So I don't know. I think it worked for his persona.
It's kind of a mix. He looks like John Wick, but he kind of acts like Ted from Bill and Ted's. It's a sweet innocence. He's not like stupid. He's just innocent.
Yeah,
he wants
he's kind
to
of
be
like
more.
a dumb lug. You know what you'd call it, like a sweet dumb lug.
So I want to help you.
Yeah.
So you liked this? Is that what you're saying?
I did. I really did.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but it was overall enjoyable.
So, yeah, it's called Good Fortune. It's our big movie of the week. It's rated R. And it was I enjoyed it.
It's
and
sweet.
It was one I didn't get to see it till yesterday. They screened it earlier in the week, but I couldn't go. So sometimes I'm like, oh, with that short a notice. But I did enjoy it straight through. So it is rated R, though, just a heads up for language.
Is this a one-off? It's one of its kind or a spin-off from another movie? I mean, I'm not familiar with it.
No, it's its own story.
Original.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Although I guess it could be a sequel.
But there are an amazing number of movies about angels. I started
Yeah,
thinking about it. I was like, there's a lot.
That's awesome. All right, do you have a question
we're
for
also
us?
on the movie show. We're going to interview somebody from Truth and Treason. That's another big movie
Good.
that's coming out this week from Angel Studios. The story of Helmuth Hubner in Nazi Germany pre-World War II. And we're going to actually talk to the director and a couple of the producers at 11:35 and give you a little bit more about that movie, and then we'll review it at noon.
Well, before we run out of time, do you have a question for us?
Of course, always. And the question is, what's your favorite example of a movie being way better than it had any right to be? Like, you look at it, like the actors, or you just go, it's going to be dumb or stupid. And you watch it, you're like, oh my gosh, I love that. Why did I love it? There's no reason I should love this as much as I do.
Well, that's funny. I'll start, and I'll just say sometimes sequels they just can't match the original. But one of the ones that I've enjoyed this year was Freakier Friday.
Wait, what? If you're me and I'm you, then who is that? I'm Grandma, sweetheart.
My face looks like a Birkin bag that's been left out in the sun to rot.
I just laughed my way all the way through that. I'll just say that.
Okay. How about you, Greg?
Well, so I have to set this up a little bit, but one of the movies that I thought would not be good, you think about the theme, a guy builds a baseball stadium in his cornfield, and people from the past come and play ball. I thought, how corny is that going to be? But that movie, I ended up loving it.
Hey, Dad? You want to have a catch?
Okay, who's not crying right now? who is absolutely not crying right this? That's one of the most touching scenes of any movie ever. Anyway, I love that movie, even though the premise of it is corny.
That's actually a great example of what the question is. Oh, it was just better than it had any right to be. I mean, it's about building a cornfield baseball diamond,
right?
And yeah, that's a great example. I can't argue with that.
All right, what's yours?
Okay, so think about this, and I'm going to have to walk you through it too. Star Wars: A New Hope. Way better than it had any right to be. It had one known actor in it. It had the people that were making it were like, this is going to be the biggest bomb ever. You can't, I mean, Harrison Ford famously said to George Lucas, George, you can write this stuff, but you can't say it. It sounds stupid. It comes together, and it becomes one of the biggest blockbusters of all time, and it kind of invents the modern blockbuster. But all through it, everybody's like, this is going to bomb so hard.
What about you, Rachel?
I would go with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I thought, we don't need this.
How could that possibly be better than
And it absolutely blew me away. The animation was so innovative and incredible. The action, the story, how combined 3 sets of villains and it still worked. I just think that movie is bold and really exciting.
So that's fun.
That's
great.
great.
Fun.
Well, we're going to hand things off now to the KSL Movie Show, and don't forget tomorrow night's rivalry game. You can catch all the action here on KSL News Radio. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. Pre-game starts at noon with Cougar Sports Saturday. We'll be back on Monday, but we're going to hand things off to Andy and Rachel now to talk to us about the movie show, and I think that they're at where Minky Couture in
Orem. Yep. Thanks, guys.
The KSL Common Spirit Health Studio will be live this afternoon in Provo for KSL's Football Friday. 31 hours until kickoff of the rivalry game on KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Becky Bruce. KSL's top story this hour is Rivalry Week. Utah and BYU are making their final preparations for the big game tomorrow night at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. It's going to be the first rivalry game with both teams ranked in the AP Top 25 since 2009. BYU safety Tanner Wall says he's excited.
You know, this is one of the best weeks of the year for sure to have this matchup. Makes it even better that we're both ranked, having great seasons, just a lot of excitement.
BYU's looking for their 3rd straight win over Utah. The Utes want to win their first game against the Cougs since 2019. Kickoff is at 6. Pregame starts at noon right here on KSL News Radio. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump's former national security advisor has surrendered and had his arraignment on 18 counts accusing him of mishandling classified information. John Bolton's court appearance today lasted all of 13 minutes. We got a hint of his defense plans.
If we were looking at how this has played out in these previous cases, they potentially preview any motions that they're going to file to try and attempt to get the judge to toss out the case.
That's ABC's Catherine Falders reporting Bolton pleaded not guilty to all charges. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 128 points, S&P 500 and NASDAQ also in green territory. Coming up, we get a break from the rain the next few days. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio.